Question for Buzz?
Coach, what was the key to such a dominant second half? You are down at halftime and then came right out and took control and just really dominated them that second half.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think was a huge difference is we had 9 turnovers in the first half and only 3 in the second half. 5 of those 9 were live ball. And so we were doing some good things in the first half on the glass. I thought we were even better in the second half on the glass. But I think the major statistical difference would be that we played without turning it over.
I know heading into this game when y'all were talking about your adjustments of the week, it was rebounds, 3-point D, fouls. Look across the board, it seemed like it worked.
I think our guys received it very well. I think our coaches figured out the adjustments, and similar to what you and I were talking about the other day, all of those things are kind of interconnected. And so it was the best that we have been defensive rebounding wise. 82% of their misses we got. It's the best that we've been on the offensive glass. I think we had 2 fouls on the very last possession. So in the first 39 and a half minutes, we had 7 fouls. Yet we did a good job offensively of getting to the rim so that we could get to the bonus. In the first half, I think they were 5 of 13 from 3. That one adjustment that we talked about, we were just okay. I didn't think we were great. In the second half, distinctly better. I think they made 4 out of 15 in the second half, and I thought our coverage on the weak side was dramatically better. So I do think the adjustments and the practice of those adjustments, this was a positive step.
How much in the second half was a focus on transition D? Because it seemed like it was drastically improved in the second half.
Yeah, and some of the transition points, Travis, that they scored in the first half were coming off of our live ball turnovers. We had 3 turnovers in the second half. I can't remember if any of them were live ball, but like any coach would tell you, your defense is most vulnerable when it's not set. And so we need our defense to help our offense. And then from an offensive standpoint, the best way to help our defense is to take predictable shots. And when those shots occur, we know who's going to be an offensive rebounder and who's going to get a get back. And I think there was an 8-0 run that they had. Jew took a 3 that was not predictable that ended up being a 3 on the other end. Then we had a live ball turnover that ended up being a 2 on the other end. I can't remember the next possession, called a timeout, and then they finished the first half on a 6-0 run. So 14 of their 30 points in the first half came in those 2 mini runs. I understand there's going to be runs, but how can we negate some of that? Well, predictable shots and try to play without turning the ball over.
Seems that all the things that you usually talk about, maybe you just already kind of referenced this, limiting second chance opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the rebounds and getting to the bonus first and all those things. Seems like
Yep.
you did everything you really want to do.
Yep.
Do you look at all that and say, okay, hey, our guys, they've got it, and now, or do you just be cautiously optimistic?
Yeah. We'll teach again tomorrow when we start reviewing the film. I do think, though, Olin, the things that we talked about since the loss to Boise State, even the 3 losses, there are a lot of similarities in those 3 losses. Defensive rebounding is one of them. Fouling is one of them. Our coverage on the weak side relative to 3 points shooting is one of them. Ball screen coverage was one of them. I think that's where we spent an inordinate amount of time this week, and I do think a lot of those things came to life. But I think that there is still room for improvement, and relative to the schedule, even the next game for that matter that we're about to play, those things have got to be better by the time we play next Saturday.
I just wanted to see if you comment. First of all, you made a change in the starting lineup. Was there any strategy involved in that.
Yeah, just trying to fly around a little more. We were 200 and whatever we were defensive rebounding, so playing bigger obviously doesn't necessarily mean you're going to rebound more. And you could argue that if you play bigger on the weak side, there is bigger, arguably slower guys trying to get to those coverages. And so I think Boots is a very good defender. Dre is for sure our best. Dex would be 1B. And we played, Henry's been sick for 4 days, so he hasn't practiced much. And so some of it was by default, but some of it was for sure planned. And then trying to figure out the groupings of who to play and when to play, I think there's some evidence of that as well.
And one last thing for me, just the impact you think your bench made tonight.
In the first half, every player off the bench was a negative in the plus-minus category, and every starter was a positive. So in the second half, well, I guess for the game, Solo, I thought, played his best game. And then every other player that came off the bench finished with a negative. And so that's not always the indicator, but it's for sure an indicator in the plus-minus category.
When you're looking at the first half and kind of how that sorted out, were you expecting, with the way that they play a lower possession game, that some of the turnovers
Yeah.
were, that the effect of those turnovers were exacerbated a little bit?
I agree 1,000%. Time of possession in their 9 games is they're going to win time of possession. And as you know, because I know you study it, a lot of what we're doing in our zone press, we're just trying to win the time of possession. But when two teams are doing that back and forth, at times it becomes a tractor pull because both teams are trying to win that intangible possession count. It ended up a 63 possession game. I told the team I thought the number would be 64. That's what I told them Friday morning. I thought it would be 64 to 66. It's not going to get to 70 we took our press off to try to increase the pace to get the possessions because we were finishing with the rebound and doing a really good job in early offense. You asked that question the other day. So on a defensive rebound, 46% of our possessions we scored in the first 6 seconds for 1.05. So we were trying to get more possessions. Obviously, that's not what they wanted.
Just how much of a step in the right direction do you think tonight was?
I'm just thankful it is a step in the right direction. We have many more steps that we have to go. Memphis will present a lot of problems from a talent perspective, an environment perspective. It will be something that this group has not faced yet. And so we need to learn from this. Obviously, our guys are still in finals, so it's a unique scheduled week. But I hope that over the next 9 days we can continue to take positive steps. I do think, and I feel fairly convicted that we figured out what has caused us problems. I think our players have received that in the right information and have confidence in those adjustments. So we've had 5 days of work this week and 1 game, and we just need to continue to take the next steps.
Coach, you talked about earlier in the week wanting the defense just to be a consistent thing, not necessarily waiting for the offense to get going to then play good defense.
Yes, sir.
First half, not terrible shooting, but 37% from the field, but still seemed like obviously coming out in that second half defense was definitely the engine for you guys. Were you pleased in that regard?
Yeah, if you were only looking at percentages, in the second half, they shot 30% and we shot 50%. Stereotypically speaking, if that's the case, that means your defense is helping your offense, right? That probably means you're playing faster. It probably means that you're getting more stops, so you're playing in a broken floor early in the possession. And if you play more in a broken floor early in the possession and you score, now that means your defense can get set and they have to play against your set defense. So similar to what I said when you were wearing a tie on media availability, it's hand in glove, right? And do I think that we're going to shoot 50% every half? No. Do I think that we're going to hold an opponent to 30% every half? No. But a portion of the reason why they shot 44% in the first half and we shot 38% is because we're giving them more possessions in live ball. And so it helps their field goal percentage. And conversely, now we're playing against their set defense.
Not to take anything away from this game, but do you feel like from the changes you made, this was a good dress rehearsal for the challenge you have next week?
Yes, I think that we have to, yes, sir. I think that we have to figure out ball screen coverage better. I think our energy towards the weak side coverage can be even more improved. But I do think that we defended without fouling dramatically better. Nine fouls tonight with 2 in the last possession, and we had been averaging 22 and a half. That changes now the game is not so choppy because now they're shooting free throws and we're playing against a set defense. So our pickup points and all of the things that I haven't said that we've changed, I do think that it was a positive dress rehearsal, and when we use the clips tomorrow to teach and the numbers, I think that will help our guys, and then we need to continue to practice it this week because who we're playing and where we're playing is dramatically different than tonight.
All right, that wrap?
Thank you, guys.
Yes.